Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing excellent. Today we're going to start buttoning down a variety of things on the FC because I have incredible news. We have a dyno day for final tuning scheduled. So first things first, I want to show you a few things that we've already done. Already put a dual pulley on the alternator and replaced the belt because we had a belt snap that was old. But we are going to be replacing that in this video because this pulley is a little bit too large. So at idle, I'm not getting enough volts from the alternator. So we have a smaller one that we're going to put on there. And I have relocated the fan relay, tucked it away nice and neatly here in the area with the stock relays. But I'm not happy. Now this is just preliminary wiring, but it's running off 16 gauge wire and the fan input wire is thicker. It's probably about a 12 gauge and I just want to match those up. So I'm going to try and do some modification to the relay so it's running that thicker wire so we don't run into any resistance issues. But first we have this stock S4 style water pump thermostat housing, and don't mind that this is cut because I've returned the other few radiator caps and I cannot stop this from leaking. And I think what's happening is that this old plastic fitting that's on the top here is just not working anymore. So we got a aftermarket replacement that eliminates all that, and we'll have to find a new location for the water temp sensor for the gauge, but we're going to just delete that and hopefully make the cooling system work even better. Alright, so here we got our old unit and here we got our new unit. Real simple, and it's a universal one, so it's got multiple holes, and although the inlets are different sizes, this does accommodate the thermostat output size right here. And I'm just going to bolt it on right like that. This gasket is very low mileage and it's in perfect condition with no cracks, so we're just going to go ahead and bolt this right back on here. And we'll pressurize the system and make sure it's working. Bolts are too long. Not anymore. All right. Got our new piece on there. Looks extra shiny. Kind of matches our intercooler piping here.
Well, it is aluminum.
Yeah. Now, like Jeff was pointing out, that this is obviously coming at a different angle, and this is a pre-formed hose because it's made for clearance when you do a V-mount, which may be in our future at some point. But and this comes up and goes right into your intercooler, which is usually on top. But anyway, I think it's going to be all right. We're going to have to get rid of that kink down there. So let's see here.
We might just have to like lob it off right here and then just see if we can twist the hose to come back up.
Yeah, I'm going to have to see here. So I think I need to get some generic hose from the auto parts store to get this installed. Okay, so we just took this off and just flipped end to end, and it's pretty close actually. So I'm gonna see if we can get this to go. This is a little bit, but I think if we just angle it and get it clamped down. Yeah, I think that'll work.
At least for now, till we get new piping.
Yeah. No, I think that's actually gonna work pretty good. It's a little bit confused about what it's supposed to be doing, but
A couple heat cycles will fix just a little bit.
Exactly. Cool. A little funky looking, but should be good. All right, let's get this tightened up and hopefully we don't have any leaks. But the thermostat's not open yet, so we'll see. If it blows away. Alright, so we ran it with the cap on, fully pressurized. We got a much better bleed than we did last time, and no leaks over here, which is great. Well, shit, boys. Look at this sight. What's that? What's that?
Don't ask me.
Well, oh, god dang. What's this thing right here? Ain't got no bumper.
I think it's a Camry.
Yeah, it looks like a Camry.
It's a right-hand drive Camry.
Whoa, wait a minute. Why is the steering wheel on this side? What you done with this thing? Wheel.
Must be really uncomfortable driving. You got to lean over like this.
Look at that. No interior.
Look at this exhaust right here too.
Yeah, the pipe's coming out the side.
Look at that SUV ride height.
Let's see. Well, this is sick, man. We're getting quite a crew here.
It's a nice little start.
Yeah. Got my buddy's car ready to rock. I'm sure I'll have some videos about that soon. And I'm over here working on this relay harness. So what I was able to do was de-pin the 16 gauge wire, get a new blade connector like this, and slot it in there so we can connect it to the relay. I can't get it to clip in that well, so I just hot glued the back. So I'm going to do the same thing with this, so that way the two hot wires from the relay to the fan will be the same gauge wire, which is a 12 gauge wire. Just a little bit better of a wiring situation for that, so we shouldn't have any resistance problems. So when we start pulling hard, once we've hit the dyno, we won't have any issues with the fan melting the wiring and overheating. Alright, well, it's the next day. Got pretty distracted. With everybody coming over with his brand new Chaser, well, brand new to us, imported right-hand drive JZX90, so that's exciting to have him back on the road with a car that we can thrash around in, and part of the original crew from back when first got the FC. We were teenagers running around having a good time, so lots of reminiscing went on. We were able to get the relay rewired with a 12 gauge wire to match the fan power input, and that's going well. It's just temporarily put in place with some zip ties holding the wires together, and obviously, if you've seen in the engine bay, we've got a lot of in-progress wiring, so eventually going to pull it, tuck it, get it into a harness, but right now it's a work in progress. So today I want to pick back up where I left off. Over here I have some parts. I did get another gasket because after we heat cycled that thermostat neck, water pump neck, it did start to leak, so I got some new gaskets here. And then this is the smaller pulley for the alternator that we now have to the correct diameter for this one. So you can see it's probably about 2 millimeters on each side, so 4 millimeters shorter in diameter. So that should help us at idle. And there's plenty of room on the tensioner here for me to be able to work with these belts. These are just Master Pro belts, so these are going to move to backups, and I have Gates high quality belts that I'm going to throw on here as well. So I'm running the best quality possible belt, so when we start thrashing and put on the dyno and really pulling on it, we do not have a problem there with the alternator or, more importantly, the water pump. So right now I jacked the car up so I can get something underneath to try and catch coolant, because last night was a bit of a disaster putting coolant all over the car, so I got to get that cleaned off as well. And yeah, we'll just keep getting after it. Oh, I also have an adapter here so we can run the temperature sensor into the heater hose so we can still maintain that gauge. So about to crack her open, drain some coolant, and get started again. So of course the temperature probe does not fit in the adapter that I got. That's okay. I ordered 2 new ones because I also want to fit something for oil temp that I don't have to have the Haltech on to view. I got 2 Bosch ones for pretty cheap off Amazon. They'll be here tomorrow. So I think for today I'm going to work on the alternator pulley and then route some wiring and get ready to install those sensors, and just take it as a chill pace and enjoy the day. Maybe, since I'm going to be able to drive still, check out what my friends are doing. Maybe do some car stuff, you know. I decided to go ahead and switch out the thermostat gasket, and it's still leaking. So I got 2 of them for that reason. I don't know if it's going to help. Right now I got the fan trying to cool the engine back off. This is really going to suck if that thing still continues to leak. The gaskets are cheap, I'm not worried about that, but I'm just worried about what happens if I can't get this sorted out. So I'm going to go ahead and try stacking 2 gaskets. I know that's not the best idea, and we'll see what happens. So surprisingly, I have been successful. Let's take a look. So we are up to temp, everything's pressurized and bled. No leaking, 0 leaking. So what I ended up doing was sandwiching the thermostat between 2 gaskets. I put one below the thermostat, put the thermostat down, put another one on top of it. So I think maybe it was leaking because the thermostat wasn't making a good seal against the housing. Not sure why. That wasn't happening with the other water filler neck. But anyway, that seems to be working right now. Also, the alternator pulley, we are now warmed up and at normal idle, which is just around 1,000 RPMs. I'll show you the Haltech screen right now. Let's get some quiet. So, since I'm sure that last clip was really, really loud, what I was showing you is that we're at a warmed up idle. The volts coming out of the alternator are above 12. They're actually at 14, which is perfect. So that smaller pulley worked wonders. I got that off eBay. I'll try to find a link in the description below. The reason I had to drill it out again is because I have a modified FD alternator with 130 amps. Which has a 17 millimeter shaft versus a 15 millimeter shaft, but I need an FC style pulley that has the 2 V belts, so I had to modify that. And the leak is fixed, so getting up to temp, no leaks, everything's pressurized, and that should be good to go. We'll give it another heat, let it cool down for this heat cycle, fire it up again, see if there's any warping or any changes. If so, I'll tighten things down a little bit more, and then we should be good to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and move into putting an electrical connector harness, like a weatherproof connector, on that fan relay connection instead of just the loose wires. It'll make things look neater and nicer and make it easier to disconnect and work with if something needs to be replaced. Alright, so I went a little bit crazy getting some supplies to make this little harness for the fan relay switch, because as I was doing wiring in the car I realized I want to clean this up, make it look a little bit more professional, so we're like nice and dressed up for dyno day. And we're kind of reaching the final stages of the wiring, which has been in kind of a prototype phase for a long time. So back here I have not only my normal supplies, but I got all these weather pack connectors with the different gauge seals and crimps. I also have some loom, split loom, so I can put things in there, but this will still allow me to make edits because I can still split this open, and I can also branch off some things rather easy, and probably do the final wiring when we pull the dash to put the AC in, because we'll be able to get behind there, clean everything up, make sure everything connects, find where we need more connectors, and so on and so forth. But right now, I cut off my top part of my harness here, so I'm going to strip these wires, get them into this one, and then get the other side plumbed up as well and see how it looks. Alright, so this is going pretty well. I threw some solder on the hot wires just to make sure they have a really good connection. And then these, let me see if I can do it one-handed and make sure I put it in the right spot. I want this one to go in here. These just slide in and they click in, and then you slide the seal up behind them. And the reason I went with these weather pack type instead of something off Amazon is that, for instance, on this one I have two different gauge wires, two 14 gauge wires just for the coil on the relay, and then two 12 gauge for the hot wires out. So I want to make sure that they can all fit into the same harness. So I'll be able to customize all those throughout the car where I have different gauges of wires running through bulkheads, but I want to make one harness so it's easy to connect and disconnect. Well, this came out awesome. So relay goes in here. Da-da-da. Got this nice loom on it, and then there's our connections. So now the hard part is working on the female side in the engine bay. So that'll be fun, but I'll come back as soon as I'm done with that. Alright, so this end is not made all pretty yet. I have some more wires to route on my next project before I do that, but I want to go ahead and plug this in and make sure that everything works. I got one of these pins wants to come out a little bit further than the others, but it should be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and plug it in to the other half of the harness right here, and then we got to let the car start up and get to temp, and we'll check and make sure that this fan engages. Alright guys, so we actually did get a lot accomplished today. I know this isn't the most exciting content, but these days when I just get to leisurely wrench on the car and button down a few things that have bothered me for a while, always feel great. The big important news is that Dyno Day is coming. It's happening this month in June, so stay tuned for that. It should be very exciting, and finally we'll be able to rip in this car like we've always wanted to. Just a reminder, today we got the new fan relay harness put in, and we relocated the relay. We got the alternator pulley on, so it's got the correct voltage at idle, and we've got the coolant filler neck not leaking, so we are buttoned up nice and tight. A lot of the reason we've been not posting so frequently and content like this is what we have to put out is because things are just still slow. You know, the state of the world is still up in the air, and we're waiting for a lot of parts. But I checked a lot of delivery confirmations today, and it looks like a lot of them should be arriving within the next few days. So hopefully we can get all those things on before Dyno Day, push out some more videos, and then more exciting content as the whole world begins to open up, and so does More Garage. So please remember, like, comment, and subscribe. And when they ask you, tell them you want more.